Hi, Tommy Heffernan, veterinary consultant with Precision Microbes. Welcome back to episode 3 of What's the Story, where we meet our customers. Today we're down in Nenagh to meet veterinarian Eammon O Connell in Summerhill Vets, a large animal and small animal mixed practice here in Nenagh Co Tipperary. We're going to spend the morning with Eammon, having a chat with him, doing some calls and a look at a modern veterinary practice to see what's happening. One of the very first practices actually to start using Precision Microbes, calf prone postbiotics, so we'll chat about that as well. So come join us. He's pulling into the yard. I'm going to hop in the Jeep. Right, we're out in the car with Eammon here. So Eammon, I suppose a bit of background on yourself, Summerhill Vets, just for people, for context for people, who's Eammon O'Connell?
Who is Eammon O'Connell? Deep, Tommy. We'll go shallow first. Limerick man, working in Tip.
Yeah.
Qualified in 06 out of UCD.
Yeah.
Took a job in Nenagh, myself and who's the partner in the business now, Aidan Doyle. Both of us took a job at the same time. Green, out of college, kind of driving around in the cars ourselves and started learning, flying by the seat of our pants, learning a bit. Our boss just dropped us in the deep end.
Yeah.
And we stayed in Nenagh, and then we took over the practice, bought it out from one of the partners in 2016.
Yeah.
And we've just tried to grow it and build it since. So we're now floating between a 9 and a 10 vet practice plus admin staff. So it's
big practice.
yeah.
We're going to see, we might finish up in the building works later on, have a talk about the future at the end of the day.
We got, Tommy.
But let's go back to young Eammon. You're from a dairy farm in Limerick, aren't you?
Yeah, grew up in a dairy farm in West Limerick. Yeah, Dad actually sold out the cows last week.
Right.
He's starting to retire. Yeah, because my brother's working in the council, and look, dairy farming in West Limerick, land is heavy. Dad's in his late 60s, so he decided he's going to sell out. But yeah, I grew up on a dairy farm, and there wasn't a whole lot of options in my head. It was either go farming, which wasn't an option. I was mad about farming for a finish, or do veterinary. So got the points, scraped in on the CEO.
Did you always want to be a vet? Are you the James Herriot type of story, or just?
I don't know. Like I think my national school teacher wanted me to be a vet. I distinctly remember being in first, second class. She's like, "You'd be a great vet," and I kind of went, "You know yourself."
What did she see in you that you were going to be a great vet?
Don't know. Wasn't misbehaving. Maybe she might have seen
good student.
Yeah, might have seen veterinary as this glittering career, but yeah, maybe it's not that. But I don't know. Yeah, probably in the back of my mind, I would have been real interested in when the vet came at home. David Leahy at the time.
Yeah.
He's in the Department of Ag now, but when he was coming, it was a big deal, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just the vet was coming, you dropped everything. Now I don't think it's the same anymore, but
looking at the back of the car, all the drugs,
yeah, and just like sick cow calving, panic stations at the time. My grandfather, God rest him, was the greatest panicker in all of Ireland. So a cow was starting to calf, the calf had to be got out. There was no such thing as hang on. There was no time or whatever. So the vet was in the yard probably a little bit too much back in the day, but he saved the day a lot of the time, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, there was probably that in the subconsciously, or simmering under the surface. I don't think I ever was like, God Almighty, I want to be a vet from the get-go, you know. But it was probably always there in the back of your mind, sort of a thing, you know.
Well, I've got to know you over the years, but as regards as vets go, and there's fantastic vets out there. I mean, you're a very good clinician, but you're very passionate about veterinary. People will know you as well from you write a weekly article in the paper, in the Independent. How many years are you doing that now?
That since 2016, I think, around the same time as we took over in the practice. Yeah,
so 8 years you've been writing, and that's a body of work in itself. But you're as enthusiastic about veterinary as when the first time I've known you, a good few years now. You're also a bit of a fucking rally driver here, but anyway.
Don't like my driving style, yeah. I've had a couple of students in the car with their knuckles on the edge of the thing.
I just realised we were doing about it. I won't say the speed now, but anyway.
It's 80 kilometres, Tommy, and I'm on 80. I'm watching. Yeah.
No, so you've probably even, are you one of these people who's, since you started, your enthusiasm has grown for the job?
It's grown, but everybody needs to be really honest. You fall in and out of love with veterinary. I think anybody who's been in veterinary isn't waking up every morning and going, woo, let's get going and be a vet today. You fall in and out of love with veterinary over, I think it comes in waves sometimes as well.
Okay.
This spring now in particular, there's a lot going on in our practice, and there's some days you kind of go, oh God, what's going to hit you? And then even I said it to Anya last night, I was sitting down and we were after having a stressful day yesterday between a few veterinary related issues, a few staff related issues, a few client related issues. They all roll together.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? Fuck it, you could be real negative about veterinary and you could be real positive, because I do think veterinary is getting a bit of a rap. No more than any other career, but sure, look, we're all insular to an extent, so we'll talk about our own career.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting a bit of a rap where, we need to, everybody's saying what we need to do to improve the profession and what we need to do to retain people in the profession. But I think there has to be some little bit of perspective on it, that like every job isn't going to be all rosy all the time. It's like my young fella, I was going out doing a call one night, I was putting him to bed at 9:15 and phone rang, answered it, and somebody with a cow calf, and I was like, right lads, no story, gotta go. And little lad is 7, he was like, why do you have to go to work? And I was like, well, I need to go to work, I said, because we need to make money for you guys to go on holidays. Like, we went to Legoland last year. I said, where do you think the Easter eggs and the treats come from? Like, And he said to me, he goes, but do you like going out to work now? And I was like, well, honestly, no. I said, I'd much rather sit down here now, read you a story, and then go down and have a cup of tea and watch half an hour TV before I go to bed.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, why can't you do a job that you like all the time? And I was like, well, I don't think anybody's in a job they like all the time. Now, maybe I'm naive, but
no,
like,
I
if you can like a job a lot of the time and focus on the best bits and fuck the negative bits, then, because there's going to be negative bits in every job.
I think that's a really interesting perspective, and because there's this mantra certainly that if you're doing something you love, you never work a day in your life.
I say that to the girls in the office all the time. It throws up at me.
I think that's a little bit of bullshit. I think you look. I'm in a very lucky position that I love my work most of the time, but like there's days you have to get up and you have to do stuff and you have to be there. And I don't think, and I'm very lucky, and you're probably very similar. A lot of different professions. Nobody is in love with their job 24/7. But I do meet a lot of vets, Eamon, and you really enjoy veterinary. And I think you have I think I used the words probably in every episode so far, but you have a progressive mindset. Maybe we're drawn to people like that. You're trying to move forward. You're trying to learn.
Try and drive it on, yeah.
So we're going on our first call here now. So obviously, just give people a bit of time perspective, the time of year. It's the end of spring, so in a seasonal veterinary practice in Ireland, you're getting into a slightly quieter period.
Yeah. Well, I suppose we are and we aren't. We're definitely getting out of the mad dash. I suppose, again, cliched fire brigade stuff where you're getting called to cows calf and called sick cows. They're still rolling in the sick cows simply because, again, for perspective, the time of year, we're just after getting the first or second fine day we've had in about 6 months. So guys are just starting to get cows out to grass. They're struggling, cows in by night. We've seen a lot of sick cows, but all of a sudden the breeding season is right on us. And there's one guy there last week even said, he goes, you know what, I'm not looking forward to breeding because at least when your cows are in calf, the calf has to come out like. Because there's an awful lot involved.
This is a preparation time.
It's a stressful enough time for farmers now trying to get cows back in calf. So we're first call we're going to is to synchronise a batch of heifers, for hopefully for sex semen and get them calving in mid-January next year. That's the plan. So already we're hardly finished calving cows and we're already getting back into putting them back in calf again.
Back in calf, and that's the cyclical nature of it. We'll probably chat about fertility when we're out there. It'd be a good opportunity. But just in relation to veterinary practice and the work, you said 2006 you're here and you haven't left. Have you noticed the work that you do change as a veterinarian from clinical to preventative to? Is there been a shift in the work that you do?
Yeah, a complete. I won't say chalk and cheese, but close enough to it. I mean, we started in 06. Now look, it'd be nice to get experience outside of it, but my experience is what it is, so you just have to relate that. Our clinical work could have been very basic clinical work where you would have, what we always say is you get the first shot at something. So there's a cow with pneumonia and you're getting the first go at it. Or there's a calf with pneumonia, you're getting the first shot at that. And a lot of it was reactive. And I do remember like being in the early stages in the first year or two, went out to a calf at Scour and you dripped him and you left. And you were like, things weren't hectic there, but there was no major discussion. The farmer wasn't keen on any discussion around preventing future cases, and the vet probably wasn't keen on it. There was just a whole lot of more clinical work to go to. Whereas if you fast forward to now, I mean, I don't know, is there any more actual numerical numbers of fire brigade calls, despite the fact that our practice probably trebled in size in that length of time.
Number wise, you've gone up that size,
and even animals numbers or whatever. But you're still looking at a completely different dynamic with the farmers. You're looking at way more phone call conversations now where you're discussing preventative strategies going in. You're looking at a way more calls where you get called to treat a sick calf but you're staying on farm for up to an hour doing I don't like using the word herd health because I think that's another thing that's got a rap. But you're trying to give the farmer value. That's the way I look at it. Your vet's in the yard. You want to give him value for what he's in there. So you treat a sick calf. You're not interested in coming back treating 5 more next week, and he's not interested in seeing you coming back. So if you can put a plan in place for him, if you can diagnose the issue, find little areas of improvement, put a plan in place where you're not back, you're adding value to him, and he's happy to pay you for that service, as opposed to paying you for what used to be buckets of Sinilox tablets and Ephedrils, you know?
Yeah. So it's a proactive approach to veterinary. And buy-in from everybody. Is it you know, do you see your clients that's what they want?
No, I don't think there's buy-in from everybody.
Okay.
We definitely have this conversation in our large animal vet meetings in particular, where we say you work with the guys that want to work with you, and it's like veterinary. You work with vets that want to work with you and have the same vision as you. So it calls the same with farmers. Like we have, I don't know how many clients we have at this stage, but let's just say you go out to a farmer and there are still some farmers that want you to treat a sick animal, and they're just not, for various reasons. And it may be nothing to do with farming. It can be family reasons. It can be whatever's going on. They want to get you in out of the yard as quick as possible. That's fine too. Just go in out of the yard and do your job. And then the guys that want to work with you, and we're lucky enough, I suppose what comes with being in the same area for such a long time is you know the fellas now at this stage that want to work with you. Now look, you can become a little bit blinker too, and Niamh is one of our vets. She's very progressive and would have focused on some farmers that I'd have, in air quotes, given up on, you know, that I'd say, you know, and got them to come around. But I think that our mantra is, if somebody wants to work with you, go as above and beyond to work with them, because the payback is good. And if somebody doesn't
value for both
people,
both parties. And of course, you know, veterinary is a commercial thing, and very commercial. Every business, farming is a commercial business, but there is a huge satisfaction in working in an environment where you're both sort of focused on a common goal of progress. Because the commercials come generally after that anyway.
Yeah, and look, I think as well there is inherently, we're human beings that want to be that seek out some sort of value. So I mean, if you're driving into a farmer's yard and he wants to see you coming, well, I think you're already winning. Whereas if you're coming into a farmer's yard for the 6th-7th time that spring to drip a calf, he doesn't really want to see you. And are you keen on seeing him either? You know. So I think there's more to it than just the commercial value of it. You know?
Absolutely. Right, we're here. We're about to start here with you're going to do some fertility work. It's breeding time. Just put it in context again, just where we are in the season.
Okay, well, we're right at the start of breeding. So the majority of farmers will start to breed maybe 1st of May. Yeah. So we're here mid-April. Yeah. So what these people are trying to do now is they've got their highest potential animals in the herd, which is all their heifers, best genetics, and they want to breed off of them.
You get to catch those heifers coming. They're actually, even size-wise,
they are in super condition. Yeah,
aren't they? Yeah.
Some of them are Jersey crosses, and the majority of them are breaking 300 kilos easily. And some of the Friesians are target 320. They're all well on target. Yeah. So what they're going to do is we're going to put some prids in. We're going to synchronise their cycle. Yeah. So that they're going to ovulate at a very specific time, and they're going to AI these to sex semen.
Value for that kind of approach is you're going to have it's controlling when they're calving, but controlling when they're coming in heat, and then you can very specifically put in sex semen. Yep. What's your opinion on sex semen? What's been the uptake of it? What's the feedback on it?
The uptake has been good. Yeah. The feedback in it has been, I would say, mixed. Okay. The choice of animal to put it into is key, number one. So heifers on target is your primary target.
So that, again, like what we're doing today, having them ready.
This is the type of animal you want to use. I suppose sometimes sex semen has fallen down where people have used it in cows that maybe aren't calved long enough, maybe cows that are stressed out. These heifers obviously aren't stressed. They're on a high plane of nutrition. Okay. They're in perfect body condition. Because of the weather, they're not going to stress them out by leaving them out early. They're going to leave them in for the duration of the protocol, and for a couple of days after AI, just let them settle, and then probably meal them at grass for a couple of weeks afterwards as well, just to make sure they stay.
These will be in for the whole protocol.
They're going to be in for the whole protocol. Normally they'd be out. Every other year they'd be out.
Yeah, okay.
They're going to be in for the whole protocol. Come on. What I'll get you to do, Tommy, because they're going indoors, tails are coming off. Yeah.
And so you tell me exactly what to do now.
Tails are coming off, and we load our prid.
I feel like a vet student again.
So, yeah. We're not getting paid for today either, Tommy, just in case you're wondering. Oh, girls, come on. You can line up there like a herringbone. Come on, Sally, here you go. You cut a few more. You cut a few more off there. Keep you busy.
Well, yeah. Keep yourself busy.
Say Tommy's regretting signing up for this now.
Will I sip him so I'll come back along?
I'm going to sip him beforehand.
Oh, yeah, put him before I put him in?
Yeah, before I put him in.
All right, yeah.
I'm some man on the scissors, huh?
I get a stick.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I think right, so we'll talk a bit about what you're actually doing here.
Yeah.
Our first crush load, we worked at speed. I'm back getting my hands dirty again. I refuse the gloves because I want to be like a real man. Feel like I'm useful again.
Get the dirt under your fingernails again, Tommy. Yeah.
So what we're doing here, we're controlling the hormonal cycle.
We're controlling their cycle, yeah. So we're putting a progesterone releasing device into their vagina.
Yeah.
And that literally stalls their cycle and primes the ovaries.
Okay.
The injection is to ovulate off any other egg that's on the ovary.
Okay.
And the progesterone sits there priming the ovaries for 5 days.
We better go up here, we'll have no efforts in the crush.
Come on, girls.
So what are the key drivers for fertile heifers, Eamon? What are you looking at?
Body condition, number one.
Body condition, okay.
Body condition is huge.
In what sense? To get them cycling?
Yeah, to get them mature enough to be actively cycling and to ovulate correctly and to maintain a pregnancy. Look, it's funny. There's lots of people with suckler cattle and they're at that age and they're trying to make sure they don't go in calf, and they're going to calf at 9 months, 10 months.
Yeah.
But what you really want is you want a heifer that's going to continue to grow and that's going to calve down at 80% plus of her mature body weight.
Okay.
And all the research has targets for that. And your target, they have to hit targets. Because if they don't hit targets now, they're not going to hit target when they calve down. They're not going to milk to potential, and then they're just going to be gone out of the herd again.
What kind of intervention, or how many people are doing this in dairy heifers now?
More and more each year, Tommy. It's labour saving as well. I mean, the lads will tell you, here, imagine trying to heat detect this many heifers.
Yeah.
I mean...
Is this fixed time AI now?
This is fixed time AI, yeah. I'll show you the protocol afterwards. Like, with the best will in the world and the most amount of hours in the day, I don't think you could heat detect these heifers correctly. This volume of heifers, you know. And again, you're heat detecting, especially for sex semen, you're trying to get in at a very, very specific time, much more so than conventional semen.
Yeah.
So this is definitely the most accurate way of doing that.
Okay. You've got close to 20 heifers, and you've got an extra 1 or 2 in that time, I think.
I think we did, yeah. I think there could be 21 in this bunch.
Yeah. We're getting better. Problem is, if you improve too quickly, there'll be no room for improvement then after that.
I like it, yeah. Improve too quickly with no room for improvement.
You mentioned labour there, Eamon.
Yep.
So you're out and farm a lot, and obviously that is, no matter where you go, that is the #1 challenge, isn't it?
It's the #1 challenge in farming, and it's the #1 challenge in veterinary, I would say. Is people, yeah. Is getting good people, getting skilled people, getting people that, I suppose, to quote an older generation, that you could leave the keys with on a weekend, you know?
Yeah.
Very, very hard to get labour. And we see it going around more and more and more. You drive into a yard, and what used to be the old story of all the neighbours being to give a hand with the herd test, and the herd test
Like you mentioned your vet coming into the yard many moons ago.
There was an army waiting for him, you know?
Yeah.
Because it was entertainment and they knew that everybody needed help. Whereas now, you can go to a farm with 200 cows to do a herd test, and you'd be lucky if there's a second body in the yard, you know?
Are the farms set up then for scale? Like you see here, obviously I'm making a massive difference today.
You're making a huge difference,
you know.
You're earning your magical wage today.
Yeah. The farms the crushes, the facilities have to be better to.
Yeah, and they have improved. Look, like I only started here, as I said, in 06. The guys here have been around a good bit longer than that. The facilities have improved. I mean, the TAMS grants and stuff made a big difference to that too. Okay. But I think if you're getting bigger, your facilities have to get bigger with you, or you just don't have enough hours in the day.
Yeah.
I remember being at a talk from a guy in.
This man is gone.
He's going flat out.
Nearly the whole ass cut off you here. Yeah. The scissors is only a Mickey Mouse kind of a yoke, actually.
There was a guy who chatted about, I can't remember his name now.
Yeah.
But he's from Scotland and he was an expert in cattle housing.
Yeah.
And
JB Robertson, I'd say.
Is it? Yeah. And
Yeah.
He was talking about building sheds, and his main barrier to getting farmers to build sheds was they said we don't have the money and we don't have the time. And his counter argument was, if you don't invest now, you'll never have the money and you'll never have the time.
And do you think that attitude is changing out there then?
I think so, yeah.
What's morale like at the moment after a hard spring?
As low as ever I've seen it anyway.
Yeah, because look, I suppose you have two perspectives. You're a vet, but you're also from a farm, so you've grown up around farming. You've seen the highs and the lows, but you think morale is. And why is morale so low then?
I think it's.
I know the weather is shit, and
weather's shit. The weather is shit. The price of inputs is getting higher. The cost of production is higher, whereas the amount people are getting paid for their product is lower off a very, very good 2022 in particular.
Yeah.
And you can't discount, we're messing about TikTok and we're messing about social media and stuff there, but you can't discount the battering the farmer is taking online and in the media all the time.
I think that's quite significant because I would feel that okay, input costs weather has been variable, but the negativity around farming, and you know, people will look at what we're doing today and they'll be giving out about it.
I don't doubt it, Tommy. I thought of it before we started actually, yeah, that they'll say, oh, you're forcing animals to do what you don't want to. And look, that's not a conversation you'd be mad to get into either, but but there is a massive negativity around farming, yeah. That's unjust, that's uncalled for and unjustified a lot, you know?
Yeah, because I think the more you work on farm and you see it and you realise how hard food production actually is.
Well, you see how hard the lads are working here to get heifers in good condition, to make money, to earn a living.
Right, so this time of year, Eammon, in practice, we're after spending, he spent an hour there getting prids, getting heifers ready to cycle for breeding, for fixed time AI. What's practice involved now for the next couple of months, veterinary practice, in a large animal practice at this time of year in Ireland? What are the calls? What's the landscape? What's the day look like for you?
You're tailing off for the spring.
Yeah.
So you're still dealing with, look, to be straight, there's still lots of lads with a few cows to calve.
Yeah.
Lots of yards with cows left, 4 or 5 cows left to calve here and there.
Yeah.
So we'll still get a couple of calvings.
Yeah.
Focus is definitely switching in the last week to breeding.
Okay.
Big focus on breeding now. So it'll be fixed time AI heifers for sexed and conventional semen for about 2-3 weeks.
Mm.
And then there'll be some pre-breeding scanning involved as well, where farmers are heat detecting for 3 weeks pre-breeding.
Okay.
And they'll pick out any cows then that maybe had milk fever, had retained placenta, haven't been seen cycling. And we'll get out and we'll scan them and try and put the skids under them to get going too.
So that's a whole new dimension to the work you're doing that you probably weren't doing, go back 18 years, you're here now.
We definitely weren't even doing it 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
So when you look at upskilling, and you've a big team of vets in there, and I know Neve and I've met some of the lads as well in there, upskilling is a huge part of veterinary. You just don't qualify and that's it.
Absolutely.
So certain things you learn on the go. So what's the focus on upskilling as a practice, your own kind of how you've upskilled yourself over the years as well?
Yeah, well, I suppose as a practice owner now, I'm looking at any vets that we employ, that what they upskill in, number one, they are interested in upskilling in. That's the key. Like, there's no point trying to upskill in something that you don't want. You know, it's going to fall flat in its face. The second thing then is, does it add value to our client base?
Okay.
And then by default, does it add value to our practice? Because let's be honest, any practice manager or practice owner, there's a cost involved in upskilling your vets.
Absolutely.
But I think that cost gets repaid exponentially if those vets stick with you and use that knowledge and that expertise they get from upskilling. So I suppose one couple of different things in our practice of late, in the large animal side of things in particular, the postgrad cert in dairy herd health.
Yeah.
I think, have all our vets done it, bar one maybe? And that vet is doing a postgrad cert in dairy herd health through another university at the moment. But I think doing that maybe 3-4 years out of college.
And that involves 18 months. I've done it
18 months
myself,
of-
fairly intensive
intensive stuff.
modules.
God, I think it makes the veterinary you're doing, it makes a whole lot more sense. Because I remember Finbar Mulligan, absolute fountain of knowledge as regards nutrition, production.
Yeah.
But like when you were in final year, and that was all getting thrown at you, it was a volume of information that was just overload, and it didn't, to me anyway, I know just personal experience, I couldn't relate it to what I was seeing on the ground, which would have been a basic dairy farming model from where I'm from.
Yeah.
Whereas 3-4 years into practice, you're dealing with production diseases, you see your ketosis, your milk fevers, your cows under-conditioned, over-conditioned, all that. Suddenly, when you get the module that he presents to you, it literally like something clicks into place. Yeah.
It's the systems thinking as well, and to add real value. And let's be honest about it, veterinary practice is a commercial entity, farms are commercial entities. So to add value, you've got to be giving information that's going to have an economic value on it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And in production medicine, that's really important. And it is the focus, like we chatted about earlier, is focus on health, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a focus on health. And I think
health and performance.
Yeah, and if you boil it down to the basics of the vet-farmer relationship, I think every farmer would tell you, hand on heart, he doesn't really want to see the vet in the yard if he can avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
But and we've had some farmers come in over the last couple of springs and go, God, my bill, and it's vaccines, and the scour vaccine, the pneumonia vaccines in the calves, the multi-main injections to the breeding heifers, all that kind of proactive stuff. And my response, and it usually gets taken up reasonably well, is, but how many times have we been out here for disasters, is what we call them. Like, you get called to the cabins, that's fine. But I mean,
animals dying at mass.
Yeah, you're thankfully, touch wood, you can start nearly counting on one hand the amount of times you're coming out to mass outbreaks of pneumonia in dairy herds now. Whereas 10 years ago, coming out to a dairy herd with a massive outbreak of IBR was relatively common in the springtime.
Okay.
So
we've made real progress on health.
Issues on that, knock-on effects, health-wise, and then economics was huge. So I think we've made massive progress in health, yeah.
So then if you go to, there's two of us, you're from a farm, I'm into production medicine, we haven't mentioned welfare, animal welfare in any shape or form yet, but it is a key element. That's supposed to be, I frame it in my mind as, I'm interested in animal welfare. I don't think you can achieve the others without welfare. How important is the vet's role in the welfare story? Probably as for your farmers in general, where do you fit on welfare? Because I mean, depending on who you talk to, it can be an ideology where people don't want farming to exist. To it's production medicine, welfare's. Where do you fit on that welfare story or that welfare piece?
I think from a veterinary point of view, we get this kind of a title as the custodians of animal welfare and health, and that's fine, grand. Yeah, we are. But I think we have to. My point of view anyway, we have to be aware of not talking at people or down to people about welfare. Farmers in the majority are trying their absolute level best every day. Okay. They are at the pin of their collar. They don't want sick animals on their farm. They don't want ill-treated animals on their farm. Now, there's always going to be isolated incidences and isolated cases.
Yeah.
But in the majority of the time, the vast majority of farmers are trying their best to uphold the standards of animal welfare. And I think as vets then, it's our role to just guide them in that, as opposed to dictating to them what they should be doing. So I mean, like, you come out and you see a cow that's maybe chronically lame, and the farmer has tried, he's got her hoof spared, he's got some antibiotics in there, and he's kind of going, what am I going to do now? And you just kind of say, well, look, this is the certain point we're at, we need to manage her pain, and make her more comfortable, and you have the long discussion about what the future of that animal in the herd is and what you need to do with her, as opposed to giving out to a farmer for having a chronically lame cow. Like, I mean, that's not a win-win situation for anybody. Everybody needs to kind of work together to get the best possible outcome. And there's not always going to be textbook fairy tale outcomes with every case.
No, there isn't. And I think, I think is there a trade-off still in production medicine, where, you're trying to produce food, high quality, safe, you're trying to get performance, it's just got to be economically sustainable. There is trade-offs everywhere, isn't there?
I don't even know is the word trade-off. I think if you look at, let's just take an analogy of somebody playing sport.
Yeah.
And somebody pulls their hamstring, gets injured. Well, then they're in pain, they're sore, and they need to be managed, and they can't be brought back into sport again. They need a recovery time. So if you look at welfare from an injured animal point of view, animals are going to get injured. There's no point in saying otherwise. But it's how we treat them, I think, defines the welfare standards. Not that we have them in the first place. And obviously there's a certain threshold. You can't have a load of lame cows or a load of whatever. But I think when things go wrong, how we work with things going wrong, how we have a plan for stuff if something goes wrong, and how we treat those animals and nurse them back to health is how we should judge our welfare standards. Not kind of, you should have this and that's it, you know?
Okay, because the nature of farming doesn't allow that. And maybe it's wrong. It's an interesting discussion. It's hard to define good welfare sometimes. There's basics, the 5 freedoms, but I do feel, and maybe I'm biased, that it's improving all the time.
I agree. I think it's really improving, and I think, look, we give out about social media and the media all the time coming down hard on agriculture, but equally, it's made everybody aware of what standards we should be aiming for.
Particularly in the calves, I think that was the big one, wasn't it? With the
that was the huge one, and it opened. You know what? That everybody, or not everybody, a lot of people gave out about that certain expose about calf welfare and what it highlighted and what it didn't highlight it, and was it biased, etc. And everyone has their own views on it. But the one positive I think that came out of it was it opened up the discussion around calves and calf welfare. And I remember talking to lots of farmers after it, and we kind of said, you know what? The take home I thought from it was, if in the morning there was a hidden camera put up at the back of your shed, would you be happy for it to record for the day? And if the answer to that is yeah, well then great. And if the answer to that is no, well then okay, let's have a conversation and see why not.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I said that to a friend of mine recently about parenting. I said if someone had the camera or have parenting for a day, I don't think I do a very good job.
You do not want to fit a camera in my house to that, yeah. So there you go.
So it is all relevant, yeah. But I do agree with you that it opened up an important conversation around calves. And we were pushing for production, and I'm talking about production performance. But looking at the whole system and every piece and every link in the chain is important. That the calf can't be seen as a byproduct.
No, certainly can't.
So, Eammon, we're heading back to the practice now to go. What's the next job you have lined up? Again, we've a lot of routine work lined up for us.
After I've grabbed a box of gloves in the practice, Tommy, we are going to go to look at a bull, just a pre-breeding exam on a bull, full exam, check him out from a health point of view, and then get a semen sample from him and make sure he's firing on all cylinders before he's asked to do a lot of work in about 3 weeks' time. And at the same time, then on the same particular farm, we're going to have a look at calves as well. Just a kind of what do we say? A summary for the end of the calving season. Excellent. And the calf rearing season for this man. He's put up a new calf shed this year and has got on very successfully. So we're just going to get in and see, kind of, I suppose, agree on what was done right, and hopefully to follow it on again next year. Brilliant. Same plan.
So when we look at sperm quality in bulls, anything that's going to cause stress or inflammation is going to knock fertility back.
Yeah. If it'll fit, Peter. You might have to open it completely though. Pop it. Super. He does, yeah.
So the torpedo goes in the electrojaculator. Talk about this. I remember I told this story one night in a pub after a good few pints in quite vivid detail about how this is done. So people who haven't seen this done before will be quite shocked.
Probably a shock to the system. We should have explained it beforehand, Tom, yeah.
So you put in an electrical probe
and it sends
per rectum.
It sends a up and down pulse through the prostate, slowly but surely getting more and more intense, until he protrudes his penis, all going well, and gives us a sample to stick under the microscope. Okay. That's what we're looking at.
What stage of the sample you got? Do you let a little bit of the pre-ejaculate go first and then?
Ideally, yeah. Ideally let the pre-ejaculate go and then get a decent semen sample. And we'll see what he has. Then we're just looking at the consistency of it when it comes out, and then looking down the microscope at the swimmers. Let's hope they're
active.
There's lots of them swimming in the right direction. Eh?
What percentage of bulls, you're a week out from, you said Saturday you're starting breeding here, so you come out, what percentage of bulls would you test would be infertile?
Again, and I'm going to give you the depends answer to that, Tommy.
Yeah, you're good at that.
I'm good at that,
yeah. You save yourself a lot of fodder.
At the start of the breeding season, most of the bulls we'll see have either already been tested or proven themselves, so they're probably okay. I'd say you're into single digits of issues. But once we hit June, where bulls have started to get used, then we really start seeing problems because stress, they get subfertile, they get infertile, they get damage to their penis, and things that aren't related even to the main stuff. They get lame is a big thing, and even in tail injuries and stuff. Like if you think of their tail like the rudder of a boat, a bull needs to be able to jump up and steer himself. If his tail is injured, everything else might be fine, but that one thing could be stopping him from bulling cows. So,
like this is what they call the action shot now.
This is the action shot, yeah. So good healthy penis, no deviation, no warts, no issues.
Yeah.
And we'll wait and see, does he give us like the creamy head of a pint of Guinness in a minute. And that's him just pulsing with the pulse going through it.
The pulse is giving the prostate a little bit of a...
I mean, G up.
Another one made up, Eammon.
Another what?
Do you want another pipette there?
No.
You all right?
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
He's... As the farmer said to me lately, it's like colouring his tea. Yeah, he's going to give us lots of it now. Oh, Tommy, will you hold that for me?
Yeah.
Just cup your hand around it to keep it warm.
keep it nice and warm.
Cup your hand to keep it warm.
Obviously, temperature-wise, this
this
is
time
an
of year
important role. You're not doing it to
No, I'm not. No, this time of year it's not too bad because your temperature's pretty good today. But you go real deep winter with frost. If you want an accurate representation of what the sample is like, the sperm are going to start dying off pretty quick if the temperature has dropped. So by you just holding your hands there, you're keeping it at a decent temperature.
And what about your slide then? Does it matter really?
Slide's been heated, sitting in my pocket before we came in.
Okay.
Theoretically. But definitely. And if we were doing a couple of bulls, we have a heated stage and a holder to put them through. But because we only have the one, I'll give that back to you again, Tommy. We'll pipette a little bit here onto our
So you've got to look at the different powers. Gross motility first of all, is it? Just
gross motility, progressive motility. I'm happy even as we stand anyway, Peter.
That's good.
One less thing to worry about.
I don't need to pump the tires.
No, I don't.
You don't need to buy a new
I don't have, but I can give you an idea of what's happening down there.
Oh, there you are.
There we go.
Lovely.
Well, is that a good example now?
They're slowing down even with the temperature. But yeah, that's the outside of the slide. And all those little wriggly guys are.
They're all sperm.
They're all sperm.
Just talk about what you're doing there, Eammon, in relation to...
Sorry, Tommy, just
the stethoscope. Talk through the use of the stethoscope in an animal there. Give us a...
For him, having listened to his heart and his lungs, really.
Okay.
Like,
what area are you checking?
He's going to, in behind the elbow here on the left-hand side, you're checking his heart. And then that area here for his lungs and the same on the far side.
Nice,
like he's going to be absolutely flat to the washers now when he goes out. So kind of like an athlete, or you going training for football.
Okay.
You need to have a good lung capacity and a healthy heart. And then you just have a look at him out the front here. Make sure both his eyes are fine, which they are.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be too happy about me, but just have a quick look in his mouth to check his teeth. Because he's going to be under a lot of pressure, so he needs to be anything that sets him back. So if he can't eat because he's got a sore tooth or a tooth abscess or something, no good. If he's got pink eye in one eye and he can't line up the cow properly, he's infertile.
It's interesting when I've heard a lot of things with the tail. I always like to learn one thing a day, so I never thought about the bull's tail as his brother.
Damage in the tail when they fall back off.
That happens a lot of the time, yeah. And we've seen that happen. My old lad, when he was breeding bulls properly, he sold a bull to a guy and he came in the yard one day to buy him, and your man was a real West Kerry. I want to see the cow being bulled. So dad let out a bull, and the bull bopped the cow, fell back, smashed his tail, game over, sale lost, bull factory. Yeah, so.
I'll back to Kerry, happy out. Here, I'll give you back your sperm.
Thanks, Tommy, yeah.
It's lunchtime, a lot of routine work, and it's very interesting. You're showing me, you can put it up to I don't know what camera you put it up to.
I'm sure you can see it, but yeah, you can see it.
You can see
it's on the phone.
All the different, everything's on your phone.
Everything's Google Calendar, WhatsApp. That's what our practice runs through at the moment.
Google Calendar and WhatsApp, and it's
very basic. Let's still, with some of the tech heads out there, but it's simple.
All I can see is there's a huge amount of work, but it's all routine work.
Yeah, we are. I suppose we're TB testing. Like every practice.
Yeah. Fertility work.
Fertility work, so pre-breeding scanning, putting in brids.
One of the lads said to me this morning, debudding calves.
Disbudding calves, knockdown disbudding has become a massive thing this year. And in particular, we're sending two vets, or we're sending a vet and a vet nurse out, where one farmer was out this week. Are you happy to go ahead? I'm not going to be there. I'm up to my eyes. I have a load of stuff to do. I can't get labour. We're getting 50 calves in. We're giving them their injection. They all fall asleep. They get their Medicam. They get their local clipped, disbudded.
Job done. So in ways, the way I see practice there evolving is you're a part of the team on the farm. The practice works as a part of the team, and time and labour saving as jobs as well as production performance jobs. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, any vet will tell you, you're reading a herd test for argument's sake.
Yeah.
Can we tie that in some fashion once everything goes clear? Can we get the IBR vaccine done as a time? Guys are looking for us now to come out and do these things, because I suppose number one, we're saving labour. Number two, they'll know it's done right and it'll be done quick.
The question I'd ask, and maybe it's a controversial one, does then veterinary practice become very routine? If we look at the James Herriot-esque style stuff, maybe we talked about, that exciting, the calvings, the stuff, the emergencies that maybe people would associate with veterinary are long gone. Does it become routine then, Eamon?
I know it doesn't become routine. I mean, yeah, I suppose you look down through the calendar and see there's a lot of routine work organised, but I mean, that's routine work that's evolving from what was routine maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
And you're sitting in the car and you're having phone calls and conversations with farmers about moving on their business. It's a different type of business. And I mean, there are certain parts of the country where you still get all the cesareans in the calves you want.
Yeah.
But I suppose the argument that some people have is, how sustainable is that for any person to stay going at consistently and constantly being out of bed?
So the burnout from the person. So your work routine now, and you were slagging me getting my hands dirty for the first time in a couple of years there.
Yeah.
So your work routine now is more human friendly and physically friendly.
Yeah.
Because something I spent 16 years in practice, and even at that time frame, I could feel my back and body going, whoa, for several reasons. That's not why I stopped practicing, but you could certainly feel that it's something that is one of the challenges, isn't it?
It is one of the challenges. The physicality of it is one of the challenges. And don't get me wrong, anybody, whether they're 5 foot tall or 7 foot tall, can do the job really, really efficiently and really effectively. And even there's some argument for, like, there would be a bit of bravado sometimes in veterinary, where you got the calf out of the couch, you sound like great.
You didn't have to do a section.
I remember my wife saying one time, I'd have had a section done, I'd be home in bed by the time you got that sorted, And you kind of go, do you know what,
What's the camera all about?
Oh, so basically we'll record a day with him here, and we'll do a 40-minute.
Oh yeah.
We're calling him What's the Story? So we're going out meeting customers that are using.
Who do you work for now?
Well, I work for myself. Well, I work for myself. Well, I'm working with precision microbes now. It's all microbes now.
Oh yeah. It's super stuff.
Isn't it good stuff? Yeah. No, it's amazing. Like I actually 3 years ago I came across it first, and I'm fully invested in it now in the sense that so it's it's an amazing project. Right, so boots are washed. Eamon, we're here on Peter's farm. Peter, new calf shed, and congratulations, it's a super job. The light in here, we're going to come
it's incredible,
isn't it? So Peter, when did this shed go up?
Sure, it was done summer last year, so we just had it finished just before Christmas.
Okay.
Penned out.
Has it made your life a little bit easier?
Absolutely. Game changer in the calf department after a tough spring.
Yeah.
The calf and
it's nice to have something nice.
Was
something that works.
It was easy enough managed there,
Eamon, talk about calf health, and I know as a practice, your role in calf health is pretty big. You have a big interest in calf health prevention.
Oh yeah.
When you look at this shed here, we'll go strolling if Mike can follow us. Like it hits all the markers, doesn't it?
Sure, like every box is ticked here, like. I mean, calf space, number one.
Because we're not far off weaning, I presume, in some calves.
2 bottom pins are nearly ready to go. Nearly every one of them can hit the grass there now. They're gone off the machine. Yeah.
And look at the shine in them as you look down across the pen.
Yeah,
they're flying it, Peter,
You've got your hay, you've got your space, and you've got air.
Yeah.
Air is key. So you've gone for your Yorkshire boarding sides, both sides, and this is a new thing. And again, it just hits you when you walk in the door because you expect to walk in the door of a shed. It's a mucky enough, muddy and mucky enough all day.
Yeah.
The light is phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it's serious. Great environment, yeah.
Isn't it a great environment for calves?
It's a great environment for yourself to be in, even.
Definitely, yeah.
You know, you're not going into a dark shed that's musty and stuffy, and is the light flickering on and off.
So how many
It's
calves
wonderful
are
in
in
here,
this shed? How many?
It's roughly 30 per pen, and there's 4 pens there.
So so you'll be able to rear all your calves here.
Yeah.
And you actually have spare. This is the training pen.
Training area there, yeah.
Okay. Training area, and then down along automated feeders. First you're using them.
No, I've done 6 years, I'd say. They were in an old shed.
Okay. And again, looking at automated feeders, again from a calf health perspective, they bring their challenges, but from a person labour perspective,
Definitely,
they're huge, aren't they?
Yeah.
But look at how it's set up, Tommy. The floor is draining away from the calf feeder. The calves are coming out on the straw onto a clean,
So we
brushed
talk
area.
about that there, Eamon. So you look at your layout of your shed here. So your calf is going to be urinating and defecating.
Yeah.
80 or 90% of it's going to be done probably a lot
Probably
of it
on your
here.
feeder, yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything is sloping back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Away
time
from the
spent.
feeder, yeah.
So you've got good drainage. So you're taking away moisture. You've got fresh air. Any challenges with calves in this house, or has been pretty plain sailing?
No. Look, you wouldn't be expecting any either the first year.
Yeah.
The likes of your coccidiosis or something like that. Yeah. But no, nothing.
But you'd know what to walk in. There's no noise of a calf coughing. They're all comfortable. They're all thriving.
Yeah.
There's not a bother on them, like, yeah.
Yeah. And they would have all had jackets on earlier on in the year, but as they grow
Just take
too
them off
tight,
then.
they're off. And then the last ones they didn't get.
So the jackets, because you've gone for your Yorkshire boarding, and I'm looking at the space there, it's probably 2 inches that are that way.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got quite an airy shed.
Yeah.
And as a consequence, cold, they can be probably cold here in
Can
February.
be a bit cold, yeah. Look, we had some serious weather there before Christmas, and the rain blew straight in and wetted this whole area.
Okay.
Did it through the boarding pin?
It
did
did,
Wow.
yeah. The
Okay.
rain was sideways. See, we're sort of up a bit.
You're
We're
up over the lake here, like, yeah, yeah.
Elevated a bit. Plus, the canopy in the roof. The rain was
It's
blowing
going-
up the
okay,
roof
all
and
right,
blowing
down.
down on the ground. So we blocked off one side. But just talking to one of Eamon's colleagues there, she said to me that that bit of, for the few days that weather would come in,
I wouldn't make much
get-
of a difference, no.
yeah, especially for using jackets.
Yeah.
So there's no.
And look, you're definitely
do
better
without
off with an airy shed and jackets
Put a
on than a
jacket
stuffy shed and calves getting sick, you know.
Did you use the precision microbes? You said
Yeah,
you used that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I use them there.
I'm happy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what it says in the tin.
Anything there that gets a little bit wet looking or a bit scuttery, you just give them a few shots. And I put a dispenser on the machine there this year. So
Yeah. So you're giving it.
dribbling a bit out there all the time.
Sure, the kind of calves speak for themselves, don't they?
They do.
So
Very
you'd have no issues hitting target weights with the Frisian Efficax, any
No, I
Peter?
wouldn't say so. No, sure.
Not
no,
even
no,
close,
we're
like.
down towards the end.
And how important is time now, Peter? Your own time.
Oh, yeah, sure. Time is quality of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And
So-
time is headspace, Peter, isn't it? Yeah.
And having things right means, because you're like, we were driving out and Eamon said you were in dairy farming. You're not. You're in
No, yeah.
5 years.
Or 16, spring 16, I said.
Okay.
Is it, yeah? Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
And
Yeah.
are you enjoying dairy farming?
Oh yeah.
But making,
problem.
trying to invest every year to make it easier.
yeah, sure. Look, you have to sort of spend a few pound all the time, don't you?
Yeah.
Sure, if you don't spend a few quid, it'll get boring too, won't it?
I agree with you.
Tell you what, Peter,
Money to entertain myself.
we're in the clinic today about to go and knock it. If you don't spend money, you'll definitely get bored. Yeah, you won't get bored
But
while
if
you're
you,
spending
if you
it.
don't do this, like if you're not changing things, we said that we were down at Solution Ag College in episode 1. You know, change is important. Been embracing change, been able to adapt, try new things. And I'm looking at those calves now. They're weaned. They are serious calves.
Yeah, I'd say there's not 3 or 4 might be drinking away from that.
But isn't it super to spend money and get this kind of reward? Like, do you know, a nice environment to come into, healthy calves. It's class.
For you, Eamon, as a vet, healthy calves, it's the foundation of the herd here we're looking at, isn't it?
I mean, there's always that argument, like the vets need sick animals to survive. Like, if vets could get away without seeing sick animals at all, they'd be much better off. Work with the farmer to keep the animals healthy, and
Yeah, it's been very
everybody's
much
happier,
the
you know?
theme of the day. That it's about that working relationship to drive the health of the farm on.
and it keeps us interested. Like, geez, you love coming out to guys that are set up like this.
Yeah, no, this is it's a credit to you, Peter. So, Eamon, we are after doing some calls there this morning. We spent the morning with you. You're going back to. We're going to maybe catch up in the practice there. But In the spring, it's been a really interesting morning. Look, it's always interesting chatting with you. You can just see the way the dynamic of certainly this vet practice has completely changed, I think.
Yep.
And if you've got a glimpse into the future, there's some excellent clients, great fun with the clients there.
Super clients, yeah.
Yeah.
Some super clients, yeah, we really have. We're
there's a
lucky
great-
in that regard, yeah.
And good atmosphere and a good crack. And I suppose if you look at one of the things that's often talked about in vet practice is retention. Somebody mentioned to me recently resilience is something, but I think the atmosphere within your practice, you work hard on that, don't you?
We do, yeah, and we put a lot of emphasis on that. We would have, so back in the day when we started working, we probably know what it's like to work in tense atmospheres and, where certain personalities clash. And I suppose the one thing that we put foremost when we took over the practice was, and some of the nurses actually think it's a cliche at this stage, that we want this place to be a nice place to work. We want people to come in and go.
But it can
"You know
be a
what?
cliche in a lot of businesses.
Can,
though.
yeah,
You're into your Google-esque. It's not just a veterinary practice.
yeah.
You don't have the pool tables.
What's it called? Forced fun. Yeah, no, there's not.
The pool tables and they're never used. But it is an important thing, and it's something as somebody who comes down to your practice has been down regularly. It's not forced fun. It's an ethos that you live by, I think, and you see that with we're out with Peter there looking at that calf shed. It's something that's that rings true to you. But a really important thing for businesses and vet practices, aren't they? That idea.
And look, that's all about the people that are working in there too, Tommy. Like as an owner of a practice, you can go right. Well, you need to have the crack coming in here, but unless you have the right personalities, and I've said this to a lot of vet students sitting in the car, you can know everything you want out of college, but you have to have the personality and the ability to just roll with it and get on with different people and just try and see the bit of crack in it, even if there isn't. And I said, we were sitting down last night in the house and I was stressed. Now we're going through a build at the moment, and there's a lot of things, there's a lot of balls in the air because it's a fluid scenario at present. But very stressed, and I just said, you know what, fuck it, like we may as well just have a bit of crack with it now. It's not that we're going to build another veterinary clinic.
Enjoy it for what it is. Isn't that an incredible attitude that I think, look, this is episode 3 of this idea of what's the story, and the people is really important. But like, I'm certainly attracted to the talk about this mindset, but that attitude of positivity, people cannot underestimate how important that is. That you have, like one of the things we can control is our attitude. We mightn't be able to control the outcome all the time, but we control our attitude. And
come here, like nobody's saying we're positive all the time.
Oh no, yeah.
There's a lot of days there where you're going, what are we at all? And like you're dealing with a stressed out group of farmers. You're dealing with probably a stressed out general public and the small animals at the moment. Everybody's a little bit down, a little bit tense, yeah. So that takes a toll, like, and I mean, as a vet, and particularly our admin staff, they can be on the end of somebody's bad humour, and it's nothing to do with them. So, like, it is like veterinary is a tough industry, and if you get into veterinary because you don't like people, you're in a lot of trouble off the get go. Like, so, I think you're going to get on with lots of people. You're probably not going to get on with other ones. Just you may as well have a bit of crack with the ones you do. And it's like the farmers. There's going to be progressive farmers you want to work with them, and the guys that just want you to call out, just call out.
That's a good attitude. So if you were to, if you were to go back to your younger self and you were to say, you were to give yourself 1 or 2 or 3 lessons, things you would have picked up on.
Tommy, now.
It is deep. We were getting towards the end of the day. I'm running out of things to ask you about. No more clinical work.
Running out of caffeine.
Yeah, running out of coffee. What does, and I think it's good because I think I ask you that question, Eammon, because I think people who will know you, and you write in the paper. You're active-ish, I would say, on social media. Quite active on social media.
Yeah, depending on
the
day or the week.
You're well known. A lot of people would. A lot of younger vets would look up to you and see you. You're a semi role model. So
Jesus, Tommy, right?
Yeah, I'm bigging you up before I knock you down. It is interesting to get people's perspectives. And somebody, you are quite balanced. But would you change anything at all? Maybe you've done it right. Is it a bullshitty question to say to somebody, or is there some wisdom to be gleaned by asking you that question? What would you change?
There is, but you know what I mean. Like, and this is going to sound awfully cliched, but
this section is very.
It's going to be cliched anyway. Yeah, fair enough. Like, what would you change? What wouldn't you change? Sure, like, don't bother changing what's gone, because there's nothing you can do about that. Like, look to what's coming in the next year, 5 years, 10 years, and go, what am I aiming for here? Like, looking backwards going, oh, if only I had gone to Australia or if only I had gone to New Zealand. I fucking didn't. So we are where we are and make the best of it and see what we can change going forward. Do you know?
So I think you've taken that attitude with the clinic. So what does the future look like for Eammon, maybe Summerhill Vets? And I'm going to ask you three elements to the question. Eammon, Summerhill Vets, and maybe the veterinary profession in the future, particularly large animal practice. Start with Eammon. What's the future look like?
The future for me is stay doing what we're doing, but keep progressing.
Okay.
Really, keep looking for ways of improving what we're doing, and keep looking for ways of improving our life and our lifestyle as well. You know, because like I'm 3 young kids, and I said to you earlier on, I'm trying my best to get them out to school in the morning and be at home in the afternoon for an hour before they hit bed. You know, and take them to hurling, take them to that. Like historically, like I know from farmers and from vets, the vet in the house was always gone. The farmer in the house was always out in the farm, you know. Like our youngest lad now is going to be 10 this year. Like, where did that go to? So I suppose from my point of view is, definitely drive the factors forward, which are drive it forward so that it's workable in the future. Like, I've no interest in being down on my knees squeezing crazy suckler cattle at 7 o'clock in the evening when I'm 50. I've no interest in it today, Tommy, I'll be honest. I definitely have no interest in it when I'm 50, you know. So
unless they're your own.
Unless they're my own. Yeah, that's true. I won't be squeezing it, but stay pedigree, we'll be okay. But just try and keep driving it forward and try and have some bit of a balance in life as well. And then, look at Summerhill. Like, I think our practice is going to keep changing, even from the dynamic. Like we've lots of progressive dairy farmers. The small animal side of things is growing. Like we've a new clinic breaking ground on Tuesday where we're hoping to really drive the companion animal side of it forward and open up the large animal side of it so that we have more room to have like in-house consults with farmers about herd health, you know, store a bit more microbes, Tommy, in the back, that kind of crack. And just make
Build an extra room for them.
Just make it somewhere where people are happy to come in or comfortable to come in with an environment in it where you're happy to stay in, you know. So that's kind of what we're aiming for there. It's not fucking big aspirations. It's good.
It's good to have these goals. And finally, I suppose, as somebody who's would be seen as a bit of a leader in the veterinary profession, certainly whether you'd admit it or not.
I won't.
But you are. Where does veterinary profession go in Ireland? Because I know it's the challenges we see in Ireland are not just based in Ireland. I spoke to vets in Australia, Canada the last couple of months. Similar challenges. Where do we go as a profession? Where would you like to see the profession going?
The one thing I'd say is there is a bit of negativity floating around about the profession at present, and I don't think we get very insular. We're in veterinary, we're negative about veterinary and the on-call and the working environments and stuff, but I think that's not career specific. Everybody that's solicitors, doctors, nurses, teachers, there's lots of people unhappy with their current conditions. So I suppose you qualify as a vet, and where's the veterinary profession going in the next 10 years? I think we need to really focus on the positives and try and accentuate them a little bit, where it's a career that we want to convince people to come into. Like farmers always mess with me, would you advise your young lads to get into veterinary? And I was like, not at all, sure, there's no way, terrible career. But at the back of it, like, you're out meeting people every day, you're having a bit of crack. If you can get to the stage where, you know, you have a nice working environment, you're not under massive pressure, of course there's on call. Like, there's on call. If you've got kids, you're on call, you're up every night of the week, you know. So I mean, this crack of like, no out of hours.
If you look for the negatives, you'll always
find them. And look, that's not saying you need to focus on practices that are progressive and that want to have an environment where everybody's happy. Like, don't get me wrong, we're very lucky where we are. We've got a good team. We're not stressed to the last from a work point of view. We've got a nice town in Ireland that's thriving at the moment, even from a companion animal point of view. So we are lucky. And there's lots of vets struggling to get vets, to hold on to vets. You know, it's not easy, but I think the future of the profession is we just have to focus on the positive sides of it, and try and be a bit more positive about veterinary. I think there's no harm.
Well, I think you lead by example there, both yourself, Aidan, and Niamh, and many of the young vets that I've met working in the practice and seen in the practice. You lead by example, so that's we're heading back now to your building site, Eammon.
I get you to move some rubble for an hour or two, off the edges of it.
Okay, Eammon, we're back in the practice. first of all, thank you very much for the day.
Yeah, I
Thank
enjoyed
you
it
for the
now.
morning.
It's a bit of crack, yeah.
Behind us, and you mentioned it many times, you mentioned the stress. The next time we're down here, this is going to be 7,000 square foot mixed practice, or small animal practice, large animal practice. You're investing in the future. You're putting yourself massively in debt. But and I know it'll be a massive success for you. So behind us, all this about to change.
Yeah, everything is going to get demolished next Tuesday. Excuse me, and we're going to start. And we're going to try and progress our business a bit further. New
Excellent.
small animal clinic, extra space, new facilities, new large animal surgery. New reception, storage, a couple of console rooms for farmers, farmer meetings, that kind of thing. At the moment, as I said to guys, to farmers lately, it's like milking 200 cows in a 6-unit parlour. We just can't keep doing it.
You can't do it. So this is progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, Eammon, look, I think people who've listened to the episode and stick with us to the very end will have seen that you have a very progressive mindset. You have a great attitude towards veterinary, and you weren't willing to say that you're a leader in veterinary profession. You are, I think. You do a great job, and Aidan and all your team here are super. So thanks again for having us down.
Thanks,
and keep
Tommy,
up the good work.
Appreciate it.
Super. Okay, that's it from episode 3 of What's the Story. We've been down here in Nenagh and Summerhill Vets with veterinarian Eammon O Connell. I think you'll agree with me from chatting to him in the Jeep. A super attitude, a great progressive veterinarian, and I'm looking forward to being back in the practice again to see what the building works look like when they're finished. It was great to spend time in the car, get an insight into modern veterinary practice, look at the clinical work that they're doing and how things are changing rapidly in veterinary as well. Join us for episode 4 of What's the Story. Until then, stay safe. We're here in County Laois today, where we're going to meet Bruce Thompson, a dairy farmer, a farmer a lot of people will know for his association with dung beetle. We're going to meet Nick, his farm manager, to talk about calf health and calf rearing. We're going to go and look at dung beetles on the farm, look at parasite control, and we're also going to take a look at, I suppose, biodiversity and future farming on this farm, and what Bruce thinks, what direction the industry should go. Maybe it's out of naivety I'm asking you this. I like it, but is it enough?
It's not.